and age, it's become a little bit taboo to talk about money, but it turns out for aging parents and their adult children, a conversation about finances really must happen, and sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so with ideas on how to make that conversation easy and meaningful, we welcome Kathy Murphy with Fidelity Investments. Good morning, Kathy. Thanks for joining us from Boston today.
It's great to be with you. Thank you.
All right. So first up, Kathy, let's talk about why it is important for parents who are approaching retirement to talk to their kids about their finances and what should they be talking about.
Well, it's important because, first of all, parents are going to be living longer. People are living into their 90s, even past 100. And so you have to make your money last that much longer. And adult children are also experiencing some of these issues in terms of saving for retirement, trying to figure out how long they have to work. In a survey that we did, 75% of children and their adult children and their parents agree that they have to have this conversation to be helpful, but 64% of them disagree about when to have the conversation. Parents don't want to really talk about this before they retire.
So when would you say is the best time? I mean, are we doing this as they approach retirement, or would you do this, years or even decades before they get to that point?
Well, certainly before they retire. As they're approaching retirement, they should really step back, parents, and use the adult children as a sounding board in a collaborative way. They don't have to have a detailed conversation about all their finances, but they should talk about things like, what are our priorities in retirement? How do we want to spend our time? That leads very quickly to, do we have enough money to spend our retirement the way we want to? Should we downsize our house? Where are we going to live? Making sure that the children are involved in that conversation. The third thing is making sure when things are going well, when it's not emotional, when there's not an emergency, to say, is our estate plan in order? Do we have a will? Have we talked to an attorney? Here's our attorney's name. Do we have a power of attorney? What are the children's role in case there's a health care issue? And then lastly, where is the paperwork? If there is a problem, if something goes wrong, being able very objectively up front to say, here's where all the paperwork is, here's the role I want each of you adult children to play to help us in the case of an emergency. Really helpful conversation to have up front.
It is. It's such good information that everyone should know and be on the same page about. But Kathy, I think a lot of people cringe a little when they think about actually starting that conversation. Do you have any ideas on how to make it easy and effective and get the most out of it?
Well, that's why I say it is a really tough conversation to have. The parents don't want to have a role reversal where they're talking in detail about their finances, particularly before it's necessary. And so, again, what we would suggest is ease in with more objective conversations about, gee, who is your attorney in case something happens? Who is your financial advisor? The children don't have to get overly involved, but they do want to know that they can be helpful to their parents and that they've got some basic information. Another statistic from the survey, while only 6% of parents had any anxiety about whether they could live on their own throughout their retirement, almost half of adult children assume they would have to help their parents in retirement. So you can see this anxiety gap is pretty huge, and it's important to close that gap.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Great tips this morning, Kathy. We appreciate you joining us live from Boston this morning to talk about that. We will certainly keep these things in mind. We'll post this for you as well on IdahoOnYourSide.com.
Thank you.